Well, here's another little story of the Little Rebel of the Gap. This is a story my father told me of growing up in Cumberland Gap, the hard times they had. Now, this was during the Depression. A lot of people out of work, a lot of people having a really hard time. But out here in the Appalachian rural country, they always had a hard time. They never had no money. They struggled just to make a living and put meat on the table. But anyway, this is another little story that I'll share with you about one of his little old adventures, the ride home. Now, I can remember Dad telling me all the time when he was growing up how hard it was. They didn't have much money for nothing. And his dad, my grandfather, would stay in the logging woods all week long. So he'd do what he could around the little farms around the community, try to earn a little money to help give his mom. And if he's lucky, he got to do a lot of trapping too, but he didn't have much luck at trapping because the game was scarce. So many people in the hard times was living off the game. And he lived here in Temple, and he'd try to go over to Minnesboro where he could really make some good money on the weekend, helping out around the businesses. So he caught a ride with someone over to the Minnesboro one morning, headed on through the Gap, went crossed here by old Cudjoe's Cave on the old Cumberland mountaintop, headed across down the other side. He got into Minnesboro. He had a few connections, so he knowed a few friends here where he could help out here around the grocery store or around an old business or something, cleaning, moving boxes or moving some stuff around, and he'd help clean up and stuff like that. Any odd job he could to make a few cents, maybe make a quarter or two that weekend if he was lucky. And it got late in the evening, he started heading home. He didn't have a ride home, nobody going that way. He thought he'd catch him a ride maybe, but he started heading up Cumberland Mountain, walking. And there used to be an old place up here on the old road called Indian Rock. It was an old place. It's gone now since the new highway tore it out way before they even built the tunnel. And he was walking up through here, and he was getting kind of tired and he was getting kind of late, and there was an old beer joint here at Indian Rock. An old beer joint here, up here side of the mountain. And so he's walking by it, and he happened to see his dad's old pickup truck there. He said, well, maybe I can catch a ride home with him. I'll see if he's in there and see when I can get a ride home maybe, because it's still a long way to walk to the house. He knowed he wasn't supposed to be in there. But my grandfather, he worked in the logging woods. He died way before I was born, so I never got to know him or meet him. But he was a rough, rugged mountain man. And here's what he looked like. This is a picture of him. He was an old laws, and he didn't take crap from nobody. Well, anyway, he headed in there looking for his dad, and he seen his dad over there in the corner, but he happened to notice an old jukebox there too, just playing that old honky-tonk music away. So he walked over to Dad and said, Dad, can I catch a ride home with you? Well, son, you know you're not supposed to be in here. He said, yeah, I know it, Dad, but I'm kind of tired. I'll wait in the truck for you. Well, about that time, somebody there at the table or bar there said, boy, you know you ain't supposed to be in here. Well, that pissed Granddad off. He just said, boy, you need to keep your mouth to yourself. That's my son you're talking to. Well, before you know it, one thing and another led to another. Oh, my goodness. Well, before he knew it, there's a beer bottle flew by Dad's head, he said. He said it scared him to death. They was a fighting and going on, and one thing led to another, and one pushed to another, and before you know it, the whole place was a fight. And there was an old jukebox there that he'd seen when he went in, had stand on it. And he got up under it just to get out of all the fighting going on, things being thrown around. And he was scared to death, he said. Well, he said, I want to get out of here, but it's just too rough. So he started walking that old jukebox with his back, pushing it, standing under it, working it towards the door. And he worked it over enough to the door he could get out and get outside, and he hit that parking lot wide open. Well, he thought he was in the clear. Well, before you know it, that fight was out in the parking lot. People fighting, shutting doors, throwing people every which way. He got scared again. This time he got up under the car. Got way up under that car, just to get out from under all this fighting and getting stepped on or something. Well, it finally died down, I reckon. They settled everybody down, and everybody went their own way. And he's looking for Dad, and Grandfather was hollering at him, "Where you at, boy? Where you at?" And "I'm under here." "What are you doing under there?" I was just scared. I had to get out from under all this fighting." "Well, come on out. Let's go to the house." "Well, I can't. I'm hung." "What do you mean you're hung, boy?" "Well, my coveralls is hung up under here. I can't get my overalls loose. I'm hung up under this motor." Well, I reckon he had to jack it up a little bit and cut a strap loose on one of his overalls. My goodness. Well, that pissed Granddad off. Well, he got him on home here, went on down into Tipple and got him home, and then he got a whooping for going in the beer joint looking for him, and for having to cut a strap off his coveralls. They were so hard to get back in them days. So that's just another little old story that my dad told me when he was growing up, of some of the predicaments he got into in this old gap. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.